We all know agriculture is one of the major economic drivers here in the Central Valley. And as I found out, it's one specific group of people with a rich American history that helped cultivate the farm industry.
All these blossoms are pushing, so we'll have lots of choices.
Nestled deep in the Central Valley lies the Masumoto farm in Del Rey.
A year ago, this field was bare because we just had no rain. And what little weeds that grew, they were very, very weak.
But this 80-acre stretch is looking lush this year and is not your typical ag land.
We've been organic for 30, 40 years now.
It was a risk for my parents because organic was crazy, something wild.
The Masumoto farm is one that spans generations, originating back to the 1920s. In the early 1940s, Japanese Americans dominated California farming markets, owning more than 200,000 acres and accounting for 30% of the state's truck drivers. Then World War II broke out.
More than 100,000 men, women, and children, all of Japanese ancestry, removed from their homes in the Pacific Coast states.
We only got paid about $6 a month, but that was terrible.
Before they passed away years ago, I interviewed my grandma Jean Fukano and great-grandmother Mary Furusaki, born in Hanford to a family of walnut farmers and were interned in Gila, Arizona.
Well, we lived in these things called barracks. Each one had X amount of families living in them.
Masumoto's family were also interned in Gila.
It was a violent uprooting of everything that they knew.
After the camps having to start over, much of the Japanese American population dispersed away from the Central Valley.
At least half the population never came back.
That has to do a lot with the history of having land taken from them.
There are at least 40, 45 families that were all Japanese American in this small community, all engaged with agriculture. We are now the only ones left.
Central Valley locals say there was never a true Nisei or second generation of farmers. The younger generation went off to college, got careers in suburban areas, and never came back. One exception was the Masumoto's daughter, Nikiko.
I saw the significance of what my family was doing, particularly being organic, and what that meant in a global context.
The Masumotos organically grow grapes, peaches, and nectarines, and it's family history that keeps this farm alive.
What my parents went through because of the World War II relocation, compared to that, this work is really, really easy.
And again, both my grandparents and the Masumoto family were interned in the same relocation center in Gila River that's located about 30 miles southeast of Phoenix. And that location took in over 13,000 Japanese Americans, which actually made it become the fourth largest city in Arizona.